The large alien ship named Harmonious Discovery appeared in Earth's sky on a sunny Tuesday morning in April 2157. It hung above the Pacific Ocean, its silver hull catching the sunlight. People all over Earth watched their screens as the ship stayed perfectly still. Commander Taewon Park stood tall on the bridge of the Harmonious Discovery. He adjusted his formal uniform and checked the translator device on his wrist. After years of searching the stars, they had finally found another intelligent species. The humans. "Is the landing team ready?" Taewon asked, his voice steady despite his excitement. Science Officer Do-hyun Kim nodded. Do-hyun belonged to the Viridian race with blue-tinted skin and large eyes that could see more colors than humans. "Yes, Commander. Our research shows humans are mostly peaceful. They will likely welcome us." "Let's hope you're right," Taewon said. The coalition had sent their best team for this first meeting. They had spent months studying human broadcasts and signals. They knew the basics of human culture and had learned their main languages.
Now it was time to meet face to face. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, Ambassador Ji-Hai Song checked her appearance one last time. As Earth's chosen representative, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. The alien delegation
"Is arriving," her assistant told her. Ji-Hai nodded. "Let's make humanity proud." Outside, a small shuttle from the Harmonious Discovery landed on the specially built platform. Crowds watched from behind barriers, their phones recording every moment. News cameras broadcast the event to billions of people worldwide. The shuttle door opened slowly. Commander Taewon stepped out first, followed by Do-hyun and 3 other aliens from different species. They walked forward carefully, aware of Earth's gravity being slightly stronger than they were used to. Ji-Hai stepped forward and bowed slightly. "On behalf of Earth and all humanity, I welcome you to our world." Taewon's translator worked perfectly. He returned the bow. "The Galactic Coalition extends greetings to Earth. We come in peace and friendship." Cameras flashed. History was being made. 2 weeks later, cultural exchange programs were in full swing. The aliens had set up a temporary base near the UN headquarters. Humans visited in carefully organized groups, while alien delegations toured Earth's major cities. In a meeting room at the base, Do-hyun was showing Earth wildlife videos to a group of coalition scientists. His large eyes blinked rapidly as he paused on an image of a small animal with a black mask-like marking around its eyes. "And this creature is called a raccoon," he explained. "Humans have a strange fascination with these animals." The scientists watched curiously as the video showed a raccoon opening a complex trash can lock, then teaching the technique to another raccoon. "Are they intelligent?" asked one scientist. "Humans consider them to be problem solvers," Do-hyun replied. "But surely not actually intelligent like us." He switched to another video showing raccoons defeating various human security measures to steal food. Humans have many such videos. They call these animals tactical geniuses and nature's little burglars. I believe this is human humor. Commander Taewon, who had joined the presentation late, laughed. Surely these are just entertainment videos. No simple animal could defeat actual security systems. Later that day, a large reception was held at the alien base. Important humans from government, science, and culture were invited to meet the coalition representatives. Tables of food from both Earth and coalition worlds lined the walls. Musicians played gentle music as people mingled. Behind the reception hall, in the loading area where Earth food deliveries arrived, no one noticed a small shadow slipping through a briefly opened door. Bandit was a 3-year-old raccoon who lived in the park near the alien base. He had keen senses and a curious mind. The smells coming from the base were new and interesting. When the delivery truck arrived, Bandit saw his chance and took it. Now inside, he sniffed the air. So many new smells. He followed his nose, staying in the shadows as he'd learned to do in the city. Humans made loud noises when they saw raccoons, so it was best to stay hidden. Bandit found a quiet air vent and squeezed inside. The metal tunnels were perfect for moving around unseen. He followed. The smell of food. The reception is going well, Ji-hee said to Taiwan as they watched humans and aliens talking together. Taiwan nodded. Your people are very curious. Our scientists are impressed by how quickly humans ask good questions. We've been wondering about aliens for centuries, Ji-hye smiled. Now we finally get answers. Across the room, Do-hyun was speaking with Dr. Soo-min Lee, an Earth biologist. Your planet has amazing biodiversity, Do-hyun said. So many species living together. Soo-min nodded. We try to protect it, though some animals adapt extremely well to human cities. Like those raccoons you showed us? The ones that open locks? Exactly. Soo-min laughed. They're incredibly smart. My colleague studies them. Raccoons can remember solutions to problems for up to 3 years. They teach each other tricks, and they're always finding new ways to get past our security. Do-hyun's large eyes blinked in doubt. But they're just animals. Don't underestimate them, Soo-min said. There's a reason we call them tactical geniuses. High above in the ventilation system, Bandit had found a perfect view of the reception. He watched the strange creatures moving below. They didn't move like humans. Some had too many arms. Others had skin in colors he'd never seen before. But they all had food. Bandit's stomach rumbled. The food smelled amazing. He noticed a plate of something sweet left unattended as a blue-skinned alien walked away to talk to someone. Perfect. Carefully, Bandit descended from the vent when no one was looking. He moved quickly across the floor, staying under tables. He reached the food table, grabbed a handful of the sweet treats, and disappeared back into the shadows before anyone noticed. Back in the safety of the vent, Bandit enjoyed his stolen meal. This place was interesting. Lots of new things to explore. New locks to figure out. New food to taste. He decided to stay. Later that night, after the reception ended, Taewon and Do-hyun walked through the quiet base. I think first contact is going well, Taewon said. Humans are more peaceful than some of our analysts predicted. Do-hyun nodded. They're curious and adaptive. Good qualities for a species joining the coalition. Did you learn anything interesting? Today? Taewon asked. Many things. Their biology is fascinating, but they also have strange ideas about their wildlife. They think some of their animals are almost as smart as people. Taewon laughed. Well, every species has its myths. As they turned a corner, neither noticed the small set of eyes watching them from a vent above. Bandit observed these strange new creatures with interest. They weren't humans, but they had food and interesting things to explore. Tomorrow he would find out what was behind all these new doors. And maybe, if this place was good, he would let his family know about it too. In the control room, the coalition's advanced security system showed all was normal. No intruders detected, all secure. But the systems weren't designed to look for raccoons. And so began the first day of a relationship that would change the galaxy forever, though neither the humans nor the aliens knew it yet. Only Bandit, watching from the shadows with bright, curious eyes, was already making plans. 3 weeks had passed since the Galactic Coalition made first contact with Earth. The alien base near the UN headquarters was now fully operational. Humans and aliens worked together, learning from each other daily. But not everything was going smoothly aboard the harmonious Discovery. Security Officer Hajun Lee frowned at his screen. This was the 5th report this week. He called Commander Taewon Park. Commander, we have another incident, Hajun said, when Taewon answered. Someone took food from the kitchen storage again last night. Taewon's face showed concern. Was anything else taken? Yes, sir. Officer Mina's shiny medallion from her quarters and some small tools from engineering. This is becoming a problem, Taewon said. Any signs of how they're getting in? Hajun shook his head. None, sir. The security cameras show nothing. The door locks weren't broken. It's like a ghost is moving through our ship. I don't believe in ghosts, Officer Lee. Find me answers. That same morning, Do-hyun Kim was in his lab studying Earth wildlife data. A soft knock interrupted his work. Come in, he called. Yoon Seo Choi, a young human communication specialist assigned to the coalition team, entered the lab. She was carrying a tablet. "Good morning, Science Officer Kim," she said with a small bow. "I brought the language files you asked for." "Thank you, Specialist Choi." Do-hyun took the tablet. "How are you finding your work with us?" Yoon Seo smiled. "It's amazing. I never thought I'd work with aliens. Everyone back home is jealous." As they talked, Yoon Seo noticed the wildlife images on Do-hyun's screen. "Oh, you're studying raccoons?" "Yes, these clever little mammals. Humans seem to think they're unusually intelligent." "They are," Yoon Seo said excitedly. "My grandfather had a farm and raccoons would always find ways to get into his corn. No matter what he did, they figured it out." Do-hyun's large eyes blinked doubtfully. "Surely they're just following instincts." "It's more than that," Yoon Seo insisted. "They solve problems and they learn from watching. They even teach each other." Before Do-hyun could respond, his communication device beeped. "Excuse me," he said, reading the message. "I need to attend a security meeting." In the meeting room, Ha-jun stood before Commander Tae-won and other senior officers. "The thefts are increasing," Ha-jun explained. "Small items disappear from locked rooms. Food goes missing from sealed containers. Yet our sensors detect nothing." "Could it be a human playing tricks?" asked Min-ho Kang, the chief engineer. "I don't think so," Ha-jun replied. "The human guests don't have access to most areas where items were taken." "What about our own people?" Tae-won asked. "I've checked everyone's movements. No one was in these areas at the times of the thefts." Do-hyun spoke up. "Have we considered that our security systems might be malfunctioning?" Min-ho looked offended. "My systems do not malfunction. They're the best in the coalition." "Then explain how someone is moving through our ship unseen," Ha-jun said. Tae-won raised his hand for quiet. "Engineer Kang, I want you to upgrade all security systems. Officer Lee, double the security patrols. We need to find this thief before it creates diplomatic problems with the humans." That night, Min-ho worked late in engineering. He had installed new motion sensors and added biometric locks to all food storage areas. No one could get in without being detected now. As he finished, he placed his favorite tool set on his desk and walked to the other side of the room to check some readings. When he turned back, his tools were gone. Min-ho froze. He had been in the room the whole time. No one had entered. How could his tools just disappear? He looked up at the ceiling vent. Had it been open before? It was closed now, but something didn't seem right. He grabbed a chair and climbed up to check. The vent cover was in place but not locked. Someone had removed it and put it back. "Computer, check surveillance for this room. Last 5 minutes," Min-ho ordered. "No unauthorized personnel detected," the computer replied. Min-ho frowned. This was impossible. He decided to set a trap. Meanwhile, Yoon Seo was walking back to her quarters after a late shift. She took a shortcut through a rarely used corridor and stopped when she heard a strange scratching sound. She followed the noise to a small maintenance closet. Carefully, she opened the door. Inside, a raccoon was sitting on a pile of shiny objects. The animal looked up, not seeming very concerned about being discovered. It was holding one of Min-ho's tools in its tiny hands. Yoon Seo gasped. "How did you get on board?" The raccoon just stared at her, then went back to examining the tool. Yoon Seo should have reported this immediately. A wild animal on the ship was a serious issue. But her scientific curiosity took over. How had a raccoon managed to avoid all the ship's advanced security? She took out her personal tablet and started recording. "Subject is an adult raccoon, appears healthy. Has created a collection of various items." She noticed more movement in the shadows of the closet. Behind some boxes were 3 smaller raccoons, babies. "Correction," she whispered into her recorder. "Subject is a mother raccoon with 3 kits." This changed everything. She couldn't report them now. They'd be removed from the ship, maybe even killed as pests. Yoon Seo made a quick decision. "I'll keep your secret," she told the raccoon. "But you need to be more careful." The mother raccoon tilted her head, almost as if she understood. The next morning, Hajun called an emergency meeting. The new security measures have failed, he announced. Last night someone bypassed the biometric locks on the kitchen storage. They took food and left this behind. He held up a small, muddy paw print on a clear sheet. Do-hyun leaned forward. That looks like a raccoon, Hajun finished. An earth animal has been causing all our security problems. Minho looked shocked. That's impossible. Our systems can detect any intruder larger than an insect. Apparently not raccoons, Hajun said dryly. Commander Taewon stood up. Find this animal and remove it from my ship immediately. For the AD, next 2 days the coalition crew set traps throughout the ship. They used food as bait and waited, but no raccoons were caught. Instead, they found the traps empty of food, sometimes even moved to different locations. Minho was frustrated. These can't be ordinary animals. They're defeating technology that can stop trained coalition spies. Hajun was reviewing security footage when he noticed something. In one frame, he saw a vent cover move slightly, then go back to normal. The computer hadn't flagged it as movement because it was so subtle. They're using the ventilation system, he realized. He ordered all vent covers to be secured. Special sensors were placed inside the vents. That night, alarms went off all over the ship as the sensors detected multiple small intruders in the ventilation system. Security teams rushed to catch them, but the raccoons were always one step ahead. Yoon Seo watched all this with growing interest. Each night, she secretly observed and recorded the raccoons' behavior. She was amazed at how quickly they learned and adapted. When the crew blocked one path, the raccoons found another. When food was locked away, they figured out the locks. They worked together using techniques that seemed almost planned. One night, Yoon Seo saw the mother raccoon teaching her babies how to open a specific type of container. She patiently demonstrated, then watched as they practiced. When one kid struggled, she showed it again in a slightly different way. This isn't just instinct, Yoon Seo whispered to her recorder. This is teaching. She knew she had discovered something important. The raccoons weren't just smart animals. They were problem solvers, in a way the aliens had never encountered before. Their thinking wasn't logical or predictable, which is exactly why the coalition's technology couldn't stop them. Yoon Seo needed to decide, keep studying in secret, or share what she knew. The answer came when she heard that Commander Taewon had ordered all raccoons to be captured and removed from the ship. It was time to speak up. Yoon Seo stood nervously outside Commander Taewon's office. In her hand, she held her tablet with all her recordings of the raccoons. She took a deep breath and knocked on the door. Enter, called Taewon's voice. Yoon Seo stepped inside. Commander Taewon sat behind his desk. Security Officer Hae-jun and Science Officer Do-hyun were also there, looking at a map of the ship. Specialist Choi, Taewon said. We are in the middle of something important. I'm sorry to interrupt, sir, Yoon Seo said, but I have information about the raccoons. Hajun looked up sharply. What do you know about them? Yoon Seo explained how she had found the mother raccoon and her babies. She showed them her recordings of the raccoons solving problems, working together, and teaching each other. I've been watching them for 10 days now, she said. They learn incredibly fast. When you change the locks, they figure out the new ones. Within hours, Do-hyun's large eyes blinked rapidly as he watched the videos. This is remarkable adaptive behavior. It's a security nightmare, Hajun said. Those animals have accessed restricted areas. Commander Taewon frowned. Why didn't you report this immediately, Specialist Choi? Yoon Seo looked down. I wanted to study them first, sir. I think we're underestimating what they can do. They're just animals, Taewon said. They will be removed. But sir, Yoon Seo argued, what if they could be useful? Their ability to defeat security systems is amazing. No logical system can predict what they'll do next. Before Taewon could respond, his communication device beeped. Excuse me, he said, answering it. His face grew serious as he listened. I understand. We'll be there immediately. He turned to the others. The raccoon issue will have to wait. We've been called to an emergency meeting with the human leaders. At the UN headquarters, a tense meeting was underway. Ambassador Ji Song sat with Earth's top military and political leaders. Across the table were Commander Taiwan, Do Hyun, and other coalition representatives. "Thank you for coming quickly," Ji said. "We've received your information about the Zorn Empire. Our leaders have questions." Taiwan nodded. "We understand. The Zorn are a serious threat." A large screen showed images of aggressive-looking aliens with red scales and sharp teeth. These were the Zorn, a warrior species that had been fighting the coalition for many years. The Zorn Empire has conquered 12 planets in the last 50 years, Do-hyun explained. They see other species as either enemies or slaves. "And now they know about Earth?" asked General Junho, head of Earth's defense forces. "I'm afraid so," Taiwan said. "Our long-range sensors detected a Zorn scout ship observing your system last week. It left before we could intercept it." The room fell silent as everyone processed this news. "What are our options?" Ji finally asked. "The coalition will protect Earth," Taiwan assured her. "We have ships on the way, but it would help if we knew more about the Zorn's plans." Do-hyun added, "The problem is their security. Zorn military bases use systems that adapt and learn. We haven't been able to get spies inside for years." In the back of the room, engineer Minho Kang had been listening quietly. Now he sighed loudly. Not even Earth's Raccoons could break into a Zorn facility. He meant it as a joke, but Ambassador Ji turned to him with interest. "What did you say about Raccoons?" Minho looked embarrassed. "Just a small joke, Ambassador. We've had some trouble with Raccoons on our ship. They keep defeating our security systems." Jihee's eyes widened. She turned to Taiwan. "Commander, I believe Engineer Kang may have just given us an idea." Back on the Harmonious Discovery, Yunseo was showing her raccoon videos to a stunned audience. Commander Taiwan, Ambassador Ji and a team of human and alien scientists watched as the Raccoons repeatedly defeated security measures. "They don't think like we do," Yunseo explained. "They try random approaches until something works. Then they remember it and teach others." "Our security systems look for patterns," Minho added. "But Raccoons don't follow logical patterns. They're unpredictable." Ji turned to Dr. Soo-min Lee, who had joined the meeting. "Doctor, is what we're seeing normal raccoon behavior?" Dr. Lee nodded. "Absolutely. Raccoons have amazing problem-solving skills. Their front paws are very sensitive, almost like human hands. They can remember solutions for years and pass knowledge to others. And they're not afraid of new things," Yunseo added. "They're curious. They want to explore." Commander Taiwan still looked doubtful. "You're suggesting we use these animals against the Zorn?" "Not just use them," Ji said. "Learn from them. The Zorn security expects logical approaches. Raccoons aren't logical, they're creative." Do-hyun's eyes were fixed on the screen where a raccoon was teaching its baby to open a complex lock. "It's true," he said slowly. "The Zorn have never encountered Earth wildlife. Their systems wouldn't be designed for this kind of intelligence." "This is absurd," Hajun protested. "We're talking about stopping a galactic empire with rodents." "They're not rodents," Dr. Lee corrected. "They're procyonids, and they've been outsmarting humans for centuries." The next day, the coalition leadership held a private call with Commander Taiwan. The large screen showed 5 serious alien faces representing different species. "The situation is worse than we thought," said the coalition prime, a tall being with gray skin. "Our intelligence suggests the Zorn are planning a major offensive. They see Earth as a strategic location. We need information from inside their new base in the Procyon system," another leader added. Taiwan took a deep breath. "I have a potential solution, though it's unconventional." He explained the raccoon idea. There was silence when he finished. "You want to use Earth animals as spies?" one leader asked. "Not exactly," Taiwan said. "But we could learn from their methods, and potentially with the right equipment, they could help us access Zorn facilities." The coalition leaders looked skeptical, but desperate. "What do the humans think of this plan?" "They're willing to help," Taiwan said. "In fact, they're surprisingly enthusiastic." After more discussion, The Coalition Prime made a decision. We have no better options. Proceed with this your raccoon strategy. But quickly, Commander. Our latest intelligence gives us only 30 days before the Zorn make their move. That evening, Yunseo sat cross-legged on the floor of her quarters. The mother raccoon she had named Bandit sat across from her, watching curiously. You're going to help save the galaxy, Yunseo told her, though you don't know it yet. Bandit tilted her head, then reached out to touch the shiny button on Yunseo's uniform. Her clever paws worked at it until it came loose. Yunseo laughed. See? That's exactly the kind of thinking we need. Behind her, the door opened and Dr. Lee walked in with Ambassador Ji-Hai. Is this our tactical genius? Ji-Hai asked, looking at Bandit. One of them, Yunseo said. She's the leader. Dr. Lee knelt down to observe Bandit. Healthy female, probably about 4 years old, very intelligent even for a raccoon. Can she really help us? Ji-Hai asked. Dr. Lee smiled. Ambassador, raccoons have been breaking into impossible places since humans first built locks. The question isn't whether they can do it. It's whether we're smart enough to work with them properly. Ji-Hai nodded. Then we need to form a team. The best human and alien minds working together with Earth's most underestimated tactical geniuses. Bandit, as if understanding her important new role, sat up straight and looked directly at the ambassador. Then she stole Ji-Hai's pen from her pocket with such speed and skill that no one saw it happen until she was already examining her new treasure. I think she's ready, Yunseo said with a smile. The galaxy's fate now rested partly on the small shoulders of creatures humans had always known were special, even if it took an alien invasion threat for everyone else to finally understand why they called raccoons tactical geniuses. 2 weeks after the emergency meeting, a special training facility had been built in a quiet forest outside New York. The sign on the gate read, Operation Midnight Bandits, with a small raccoon silhouette below it. Inside, Captain Hyun-Woo Yoon watched as his unusual team prepared for the day's training. Hyun-Woo was Earth's top special operations officer, with 15 years of experience, but nothing had prepared him for this mission. How are our tactical geniuses today? He asked, approaching Yunseo and Dr. Lee. Eager to work, Dr. Lee answered, pointing to a large habitat area where 12 raccoons were exploring various objects, especially since they know they'll get treats. The raccoon team had grown. Besides Bandit and her 3 kits, they had recruited 8 more raccoons from the surrounding area. All were chosen for their problem-solving skills. And the equipment? Hyun-Woo asked. Yunseo held up a tiny vest fitted with miniature cameras and sensors. Minho finished the final adjustments last night. They're light enough that the raccoons barely notice them. Hyun-Woo nodded and turned to the other side of the facility, where alien and human engineers were putting final touches on a large structure. Is our mock Zorn base ready? Engineer Minho stepped forward. Yes, Captain, we've built it based on all known information about Zorn security systems. It should be very close to what we'll face. And very secure? Hyun-Woo asked. Minho smiled, slightly. I've added every security measure I could think of. If these raccoons can get through this, they can get through anything. Then let's begin today's test, Hyun-Woo said. The mock Zorn base was impressive. It had motion sensors, heat, detectors, pressure plates, laser grids, and complex locks. The team had even recreated the red lighting that Zorn preferred, giving everything an eerie glow. The mission was simple. Get inside, retrieve small data chips from the central room, and get out without being detected. Dr. Lee and Yunseo fitted vests on 4 raccoons. Bandit, her daughter who they named Scout, and 2 males called Shadow and Pebble. Remember, Dr. Lee told the team, we don't force them to do anything. We just create the right motivation. Yunseo placed small treats at different points along the way. The final goal, the data chips, were coated with a special honey mixture that raccoons found irresistible. From the control room, the team watched on screens as the raccoons were released near an air vent outside the mock base. Bandit approached, first her nose twitching at the smell of treats. She examined the vent cover, trying different angles before finding a way to push it open. The others followed her inside. They're in the ventilation system, Minho reported, watching his screens. No alarms triggered. The raccoons moved through the vents with ease, stopping occasionally to collect treats. When they reached a section blocked by a laser grid, they paused. Shadow tried to go through but touched a laser beam. A soft buzzer sounded, indicating he would have been caught in a real situation. The raccoons backed up. They tried a different route, but it was also blocked. "They're stuck," Hajun said. "The security is working." But then Bandit did something unexpected. She grabbed some dust and debris from the vent floor and tossed it into the air. The dust made the laser beams visible as red lines. "She's mapping the laser grid," Do-hyun exclaimed. With the beams now visible, Bandit carefully navigated through the gaps. The others followed her example. "Remarkable problem-solving," Dr. Lee noted. She created a tool from her environment. The raccoons continued through the base, facing and overcoming each security challenge. When they reached a room with pressure-sensitive floors, they moved along pipes on the ceiling instead. When they encountered a lock, they worked together to manipulate it until it opened. In the control room, the human and alien observers watched in amazement. "Our best spies couldn't do this," Hajun admitted. "The raccoons don't follow any pattern that security systems can predict." Finally, the raccoons reached the central room where the data chips waited. They quickly found the honey-coated chips and picked them up. "Target acquired," Minho announced. "Now they need to get out." But leaving proved harder than entering. The mock base was programmed to go into high alert once the chips were moved, just as a real Zorn base would. Alarms sounded. More laser grids activated. Doors locked automatically. "This is the real test," Hyunwoo said tensely. "Can they escape a lockdown?" The raccoons seemed startled by the alarms but didn't panic. Bandit led them to a different route than the one they had used to enter. They moved through narrow gaps in the walls, places that were too small for security to monitor completely. When they reached a sealed door, they climbed into a small waste disposal chute that the engineers had included for realism, but never expected to be used. "They're using the garbage chute," Yoon Seo laughed. "We didn't even show them that route." Minutes later, all 4 raccoons emerged from the base, data chips still in their possession. The control room erupted in cheers. "Mission successful," Hyunwoo announced. "Time to move to the next phase." 3 days later, on the coalition ship, Harmonious Discovery, Commander Taewon met with the team. The raccoons' success in the tests had convinced even the most skeptical coalition leaders. "The Zorn forward base in the Procyon system is our target," Taewon explained, showing a holographic map. "It's their command center for the planned attack on Earth." "What exactly do we need from this base?" Hyunwoo asked. "The Zorn battle plans," Taewon replied. "With those, our fleet can intercept them before they reach Earth." The team discussed the details. The plan was risky but simple. A small ship would approach the Procyon system under stealth. The raccoon team would be deployed near the base. Using their special vests with cameras, they would enter the base, find the command center, and copy the data they needed. "The raccoons won't know what specific data to get," Dr. Lee warned. "They'll just follow the scent trails we create." "That's why we'll be nearby to guide them once they're inside," Yoon Seo said. "We can see through their cameras and communicate with small sounds they can hear." Do-hyun looked concerned. "The Zorn are dangerous. If they discover our raccoon operatives." "They won't," Hyunwoo said confidently. "That's the beauty of this plan. The Zorn are looking for spies, other intelligent beings. They would never suspect animals." "And if something goes wrong?" Hajun asked. "Then we move to Plan B," Hyunwoo said. "A direct assault on the base, but that would be much riskier and cost many lives." Commander Taewon stood up. "The Coalition Council has approved this operation. We leave in 2 days." The night before departure, Yoon Seo sat with Bandit in the raccoon habitat. The other raccoons were playing or sleeping, but Bandit seemed to sense the importance of what was coming. "You don't understand what we're asking you to do," Yoon Seo said softly, stroking Bandit's fur. "You're just following your instincts, looking for food and interesting things." Bandit watched her with intelligent eyes. "But those instincts might save my planet," Yoon Seo continued. "Billions of lives could depend on your ability to get past a lock or find a hidden path." Dr. Lee approached and sat beside them. "Talking to our lead operative?" she asked with a smile. "Just thinking about how strange this is," Yunseo replied. "3 months ago, I was a regular communications specialist. Now I'm part of a team sending raccoons to spy on alien warlords." Dr. Lee laughed. "Life is full of surprises, but I've studied raccoons for years, and if any animals can pull this off, it's them." Bandit chittered softly and put her paw on Yunseo's hand, almost as if offering reassurance. "I think she's ready," Dr. Lee said. "We all are." As the two women left the habitat, neither noticed Shadow silently opening the supposedly secure food container in the corner, teaching the technique to the younger raccoons as they gathered around him. The raccoons were ready indeed, perhaps more ready than their human and alien teammates realized. The small coalition ship Silent Step dropped out of faster-than-light travel near the edge of the Procyon system. Its special stealth systems made it nearly invisible to sensors. On the bridge, Captain Hyunwoo checked the scanners. "Zorn base, detected on the 4th moon. No signs they've spotted us." Commander Taewon nodded. "Good. Let's proceed with the mission." In the ship's main hold, Yunseo and Dr. Lee were preparing the raccoon team. 4 raccoons, Bandit, Scout, Shadow, and Pebble, were fitted with their special vests. Each vest had tiny cameras, microphones, and data devices. "The honey scent trail is set," Dr. Lee said. "It leads directly to the computer terminals in their command center." Minho adjusted some settings on his tablet. "The interface tools are ready. Once they reach the terminals, the devices on their vests will automatically connect and download the battle plans." Ha-Jun looked concerned. "The Zorn have never encountered raccoons before. What if they just shoot them on sight?" "Zorn don't waste ammunition on non-threats," Do-hyun explained. "Their warriors are trained to ignore small animals or vermin. They'll likely assume raccoons are just local creatures." Hyunwoo's voice came through the speakers. "We're approaching the drop point. Final checks now." The team ran through their checklist. The raccoons seemed calm, already focused on the scent trails that would guide them. "Remember," Yunseo told the others, "once they're inside, we can guide them with small sounds through their earpieces. But we can't control them. We can only suggest." The ship landed silently in a rocky area, about 1 kilometer from the Zorn base. The landscape was barren and dusty under a dark purple sky. "Deploying now," Hyunwoo announced. The team moved quickly. Using a small rover, they transported the raccoons to a position near the base's exterior ventilation system. From there, the raccoons would be on their own until they reached the command center. "Good luck," Yunseo whispered as the raccoons were released. Back on the ship, the team gathered around the monitors. Each screen showed the view from a different raccoon's camera. "They're moving toward the base," Minho reported. Through the cameras, they watched as Bandit led the group to a vent opening. She sniffed at it, then began working on the cover. Within minutes, she had it loose. One by one, the raccoons slipped inside. "They're in," Dr. Lee said, her voice tense with excitement. The view from the cameras was now dark as the raccoons moved through the ventilation system. Occasionally, they would pass grates that showed glimpses of the base interior. Red lighting gave everything an eerie glow. Large-scaled Zorn warriors moved about, unaware of the small spies above them. "They're following the scent trail perfectly," Dr. Lee said, tracking their movement on a map. After 20 minutes of careful navigation, the raccoons reached a larger ventilation hub. Multiple paths led in different directions. "This is the tricky part," Minho said. "They need to take the 3rd path on the left." Yunseo pressed a button that sent a soft clicking sound to Bandit's earpiece, the signal they had trained her to associate with "this way." Bandit hesitated, then turned to the correct path. The others followed. "Good girl," Yunseo whispered. The raccoons continued through the ventilation system until they reached a grate overlooking a large room filled with computer terminals. This was the Zorn command center. 5 Zorn warriors present, Ha-Jun counted. Heavy security. "Now we wait," Do-hyun said. "They'll leave for shift change in approximately 10 minutes, according to our intelligence." Sure enough, After several minutes, an alarm sounded. The Zorn warriors spoke to each other in their harsh language, then left the room. Now, Yunwu. Ordered Yun Seo sent the signal. The Raccoons pushed open the grate and dropped down into the command center. They immediately began following the honey scent to the main terminal. They need to place the data devices on the glowing ports, Minho reminded everyone. The Raccoons, drawn by the scent, climbed onto the terminals. Their vests contained small data extraction tools that would activate when placed against the Zorn. Computer ports. Bandit and Shadow found the first ports and placed their paws on them. The indicators on their vests turned green. The download had begun. "It's working," Minho exclaimed. "We're getting the data." Suddenly, a door opened. A Zorn warrior entered the room. Everyone froze. The warrior was large, with red scales and sharp teeth. It carried a weapon larger than any of the Raccoons. The warrior looked around the room, then spotted the Raccoons on the terminals. It made a confused sound. "Don't move," Hyunwoo whispered, though the Raccoons couldn't hear him. "Just stay still." The Zorn warrior approached slowly, its head tilted in confusion. It had never seen creatures like these before. It reached for a communication device on its belt. "We're blown," Hajun said tensely. "It's calling for backup." But before the warrior could use the device, Scout, who had been hidden behind a terminal, suddenly darted across the floor. The Zorn's attention followed her movement. In that moment, Bandit and Shadow jumped down and scurried in different directions. The Zorn warrior seemed confused, turning back and forth, unsure which small creature to focus on. Pebble added to the chaos by climbing up the warrior's back. The Zorn spun around, trying to reach the Raccoon. "They're creating a diversion, Doctor," Lee realized. While the warrior was distracted, the data download continued. Green lights flashed on all 4 vests. The mission was complete. "They've got the data," Minho confirmed. "Now they need to get out." The Zorn warrior was becoming angry. It swung its weapon, trying to hit the Raccoons. But they were too quick, too unpredictable. They ducked and weaved, never where the Zorn expected them to be. "Back to the vent," Yunseo urged, sending the retreat signal. One by one, the Raccoons made their way back to the ventilation grate. Scout went first, then Pebble. Shadow followed after creating one more distraction by knocking over a container. Bandit was last. She dodged another swing from the confused Zorn warrior, then leaped to the wall and climbed back into the vent just as more warriors rushed into the room. "They made it," Yunseo cheered. "All 4 are safe in the ventilation system." The team watched anxiously as the Raccoons navigated their way back through the maze of vents. Twice they had to change routes as Zorn warriors searched for them. But their unpredictable movements confused the search parties. Finally, after what seemed like hours, the cameras showed daylight. The Raccoons had reached the exterior of the base. "Sending the rover now," Hyunwoo said, dispatching the small vehicle to collect them. 20 minutes later, the Raccoons were safely back on board the Silent Step, which quickly departed the Procyon system. 2 weeks later, a formal ceremony was held at the United Nations headquarters on Earth. The Coalition fleet had used the stolen battle plans to set a trap for the Zorn Armada. The resulting battle had been a decisive victory, forcing the Zorn Empire to retreat and sign a peace treaty. Commander Tae-wan stood before a gathering of human and Coalition leaders. "Today marks a historic alliance between Earth and the Galactic Coalition," he said. "Together we achieved what neither could alone." He turned to Ambassador Jihai. "I must formally apologize for dismissing your claims about Raccoon intelligence. Earth's tactical geniuses saved countless lives." Jihai smiled. "No apology needed, Commander. We're just glad you were willing to learn." After the ceremony, Yunseo visited the new facility built specifically for the Raccoon team. It was spacious and filled with puzzles, challenges, and comfortable living spaces. Dr. Lee was there, watching Bandit teach some new techniques to younger Raccoons. "The Interspecies Tactical Intelligence Division is official," Dr. Lee told Yunseo, "with you as head of communications." Yunseo smiled. "I never imagined my career would involve translating for Raccoons." "The Coalition scientists still can't figure out how they think," Dr. Lee said. Their problem-solving doesn't follow logical patterns that we understand. That's what makes them special, Yunseo replied. They don't plan ahead like we do. They adapt to whatever they find. No security system can predict what they'll try next. In the habitat, Bandit looked up at them. Then she went back to working on a complex lock the engineers had created as a challenge. She had already figured out 3 different ways to open. And on a screen nearby, a news report showed that the Zorn Emperor had appeared in public for the first time since the defeat. Strangely, his famous ceremonial headpiece was missing. No one knew why. But in a hidden corner of the raccoon habitat, behind Bandit's favorite sleeping spot, a collection of shiny objects gleamed in the light. Among them was a small metal object that looked remarkably like a miniature version of the missing Zorn headpiece. Some questions were best left unanswered. The galaxy had learned why humans called raccoons tactical geniuses, but they were only beginning to understand just how clever these small masked animals truly were.